When exploring the ocean in Minecraft, you might come across a wooden structure hidden in the depths, wasted on the shore, or even frozen in an iceberg. Minecraft shipwrecks are mysterious and do not have a clear origin story. They have long been just there. No one questions why. But I want to know what happened to them. Why were they abandoned? And what happened to their crews? In this video, we will uncover the secrets of the shipwrecks, we will try to find out what happened to their crews, and we will see what it means for Minecraft's lore. And stay tuned until the end, because the answer might be more surprising than you think. Shipwrecks were added to Minecraft in 2018 with the 1.13 update Aquatic. They can generate upright, sideways, or downward. They are also made of wood, and in fact they can be made of two different types of wood at the same time. The types of wood that can be found include oak, dark oak, jungle, birch, and spruce. They can also have acacia in Bedrock Edition. Furthermore, they have wooden materials like planks, fences, slabs, stairs, trapdoors, even doors if they're upright. They have logs in Java Edition and script logs in Bedrock Edition, and they can have up to 3 chests. So far we have nothing out of the ordinary, but we want to know about the origins of these structures. So what clues do they give us? Well, we can start by looking at how many shipwrecks there are. We can tell from this map that they are not super rare and in fact fairly common. This map shows a world seed, and every anchor that you see is a shipwreck generated. So they aren't exactly rare. If we think about this for a second, we can come to the conclusion that many ships were at sea all at once, and they came into contact with each other at least daily. At least that's what appears to be the truth. We'll look more into that later. We know that whoever built them had lots of wood for multiple forests because the shipwrecks are made of different types of wood. But we have another mystery on our hands. If there was once a thriving fleet of ships, there's no evidence of any docks. The only docks we have are in villages, and those seem to be made solely for boats and not big ships. Another thing, there's no evidence of any anchors. Ships use anchors to keep the ship stationary while they're not sailing. Also, there are no sails. These shipwrecks look like they should have sails, especially since they have masts when they're upright and intact. Sails would be useful for using the wind to move the ship, but there's no evidence of them whatsoever. There are no ropes or flags or anything that would be characteristics of real ships. The only thing that might be a characteristic of a real ship is something in the back that resembles a rudder. So what's going on exactly? To figure out what the backstory of these ships is, we should take a look inside. The ships are relatively small and don't exactly have much space for multiple people. We'll assume no one slept here since there is no evidence of beds or anything that would have been homely. The intact ships have multiple trapdoors between the decks. That's a sign that there could have been direct communication between the decks, and there also could have been cargo being transferred between them. So were these cargo ships? Well, that seems like it could be plausible. After all, there is definitely enough space for mass storage. There doesn't appear to be a need for much crew anyway, so it would have been really easy to transport cargo. Except, it wouldn't have been, because there are literally 0 docks to offload the cargo. We also have no idea what they could have carried that it would have needed to be dropped off at another location. But we haven't even looked inside the chests that are inside the shipwrecks. These might provide us with some answers. But actually, they kinda confuse me. Let's see what they got. There can be up to 3 chests in shipwrecks, and they each pull from different item generating pools. The first pool generates supply chests, which includes coal, bamboo, pumpkins, rotten flesh, gunpowder, wheat, carrots, potatoes, poisonous potatoes, paper, moss, suspicious stew, enchanted leather armor, the coast armor trim template, and TNT. The second one generates treasure chests, which includes iron ingots, iron nuggets, emeralds, lapis, gold ingots, gold nuggets, diamonds, bottled Zoe enchanting, and the coast armor trim template. The third one generates map chests, which includes a treasure map, paper, feathers, books, clocks, compasses, empty maps, and again, the coast armor trim template. So what clues do these items give us that we can use to find their purpose? Well, we can start by looking at the names of each of these chests. We have the supply chest, the treasure chest, and the map chest. We can safely assume that these were used for those purposes. The ships carried supplies, maps, and treasure. Let's take a look at the specific items found in these chests. We can start with the supply chests because these would be the most essential to carry on a voyage at sea. We can see bits of food like carrots, potatoes, and wheat. Food would be necessary for the sailors to eat. We also see bamboo, which implies that they went to jungles. Also pumpkins, which can be found on land. Gunpowder suggests that they ran into creepers, but it might mean something else, because we also find TNT. That might become more important later. Rotten flesh could suggest that they came into contact with zombies or drowns. Coal and moss suggest that they came into contact with miners. There's also suspicious stew, which can be crafted with flowers, so that doesn't mean much. Paper is found in map chests, and we'll talk about that more in just a little bit. The one thing that kind of puzzles me a little bit about the supply chests is the enchanted leather armor. Leather would indicate that they hunted cows, but the leather armor also has enchantments on it, so maybe they came across villagers, specifically librarians who enchanted their things. But we see curses like Curse of Vanishing and Curse of Binding on these, so we don't really know how they got these or what they used them for. We don't see any weapons, so it's not likely they fought anything. We do see Coast Armor Trim templates in all these chests, but we don't see it used anywhere. We'll look for more clues to see what this leather armor could mean. Let's move on to treasure chests. We see iron, gold, emeralds, lapis, and diamonds. These are all found underground, so it's likely they came across miners and traded with them. But we also see bottles of enchanting, which means that they traded with villagers. We also found the Coast Armor Trim template, but I already mentioned that. These items are valuable, but we don't see them being used for a specific purpose. We might find some answers with the map chest. If we take a look at the map chest, we can find feathers, books, and paper, which could be used for writing. We also find clocks, which could tell the time when it maybe wasn't clear, like in the lower deck or when it's raining. Compasses point to your spawn point, but I don't know where these ancient sailors spawned, but it could have been useful. We also find the Coast Armor Trim again. There are also maps, which are so useful for finding your way around the world. But we don't just find regular maps, we also find treasure maps, or explorer maps if you want to get technical. This might give us a huge clue about the purpose of these old ships. It's also worth mentioning that you can find treasure maps in underwater ruins. Now if you find a treasure map, it'll give you a big red X where a supposed treasure lies buried under a beach, a snowy beach, or a stony shore on Bedrock Edition. This map will have pre-drawn boundaries between land and water, and it points to a treasure that's relatively close by. It's usually not within the same map range, but it's not much farther than that. Once you get to the X, you're gonna have to dig down a little bit before you actually uncover the treasure. Treasure chests generate a little differently in Java and Bedrock. In both Java and Bedrock, they generate TNT, iron ingots, gold ingots, diamonds, prismarine crystals, potions of water breathing, and hearts of the sea. Hearts of the sea have their own backstory and they deserve another video. Get subscribed so you don't miss out. Those are the only objects that generate on both Java and Bedrock. Now let's take a look at the Java exclusives. These include cooked cod, cooked salmon, leather tunics, iron swords, and emeralds. Now let's check out the Bedrock exclusives. These are chainmail armor, leads, name tags, potions of regeneration, books and quills, the music discs Melohi and Weight, bottles of enchanting, and cake. These seem a little too different, but we'll see how much it matters for the lore. We should see what we can infer based on the items in both Bedrock and Java. Iron, gold, and diamonds are found in shipwrecks, so maybe those are self-explanatory. Prismarine crystals signal that they came into contact and possibly fought guardians. Potions of water breathing signal that they dove underwater, possibly to collect resources, maybe from underwater ruins. That could be how they found treasure maps. The other items found that are exclusive to either Java or Bedrock don't really tell us anything important, other than the chainmail armor found in Bedrock and the sword and leather chestplate in Java. These signal that they may have been fighters. Now we have to consider that there are two possibilities. One is that they are using the treasure map to look for the chests, and two is that they are the ones who buried the treasure themselves. I actually think it's the latter. I think these sailors are the ones who buried the treasure. The reason I think so is because we already see that they have some treasure on their ships. It wouldn't make sense for them to raid the treasure chests, but only steal some of the loot. Also, we never find a raided treasure chest. If every ship that had a treasure map was looking for the treasure, every chest would already be raided. That would also raise the question of who buried them in the first place. Now, if we say that they buried the treasure, we have to establish a motive. Why would they bury the treasure in the first place? Maybe it was for safekeeping. But from what? It could also be a challenge for someone else to find it. But we should also consider something else. Why is every ship wrecked? Why do we find them sometimes not fully formed? And what's causing all of these ships to be wrecked at the same time? Like I said before, there are no docks for these ships, which doesn't seem to make much sense if there are so many of them. And why are there so many ships? Did they have all this treasure that they wanted buried? And if so, why would they need ships to bury them? I want to propose a theory. These ships were all operated by people fleeing something. The buried treasure is loot that they wanted to protect and hide. They wanted to save it for later, but if these people wanted to flee from something, then what was it? I think it could have been the piglins. I say this because we see ruined portals everywhere, even underwater. It's possible that they once invaded the overworld. It's possible people fled from them and buried their valuables underground to protect it. They drew maps to make sure they could find it again. I think that people from all over the overworld built ships to flee because we see almost all types of wood being used to build ships. But we have a couple things yet to be explained. Why was every ship wrecked? Well, remember the TNT from earlier? Some, if not most ships are not fully intact. It's quite common to find half shipwrecks. I think there could have been an accident from the TNT on these ships. Or maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe piglins from the nether portals underwater targeted the TNT and caused the ships to explode. Either way, I think the TNT is the reason we see ships that are not complete. As for why there are no sails, I don't know. Maybe they degraded with time or water. So here's my full theory. A long time ago, piglins invaded the overworld. This caused a mass exodus from land where people built ships out of whatever wood was around them. They took all their valuables and buried them underground near the water for safekeeping. They drew maps to remember where the treasure was. But they couldn't travel far to escape the piglins because piglins had invaded everywhere on land. They also had some portals generated underwater. No place was safe. The ships were attacked by piglins who took advantage of the TNT to destroy the ships. This is why every ship is wrecked. As for this invasion from the piglins, that's another topic for another time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.